Hello, my good friends. How are you today? May God bless you all. I will not introduce anything. You guys watch the video and feel it. Then let's evaluate together. The chandelier lights of the Four Seasons Hotel ballroom in Atlanta glittered like 1,000 tiny stars, casting a golden glow over the crowd of Atlanta's elite. The air buzzed with the clink of champagne glasses, the rustle of designer gowns, and the low hum of gossip that seemed to follow every step Zora Jackson took. She stood tall in an emerald green dress that hugged her curves, the deep color making her smooth brown skin shimmer under the lights. Her thick, curly hair spilled over her shoulders, free and wild after weeks of being tamed for someone else's idea of perfection. Beside her, Malik Carter cut a sharp figure in a tailored black tuxedo, his broad shoulders squared, his dark eyes scanning the room with a quiet intensity. Every head turned as they entered, whispers rippling through the crowd like a wave. Zora felt the weight of their stares, but she held her chin high, her heart pounding in her chest. This wasn't how she'd pictured her life 3 weeks ago. Back then, she'd been a bride-to-be, suffocating under layers of white satin and society's expectations. Now, here she was, stepping into a lion's den of judgment, with a man she barely knew, but somehow trusted with her life. The Gardner Foundation Gala was the kind of event where Atlanta's power players showed off their wealth and connections, and tonight it was about to become a battlefield. "Keep your head up," Malik murmured, his voice low and steady, his hand brushing the small of her back. His touch sent a jolt through her, grounding her in the chaos. She nodded, forcing a breath as they moved deeper into the room. The sea of faces parted, some curious, some hostile, but Zora didn't flinch. She'd faced worse than whispers and side-eyes. Across the ballroom, Derrick Langston stood surrounded by his usual posse, a pack of slick-haired trust fund kids and their Botoxed wives, all sipping martinis and pretending not to notice her. He looked every bit the golden boy Atlanta adored, tall, blonde, and handsome in a way that screamed old money. His navy suit was pristine, his smile polished, but Zora knew the venom hiding behind it. When his blue eyes locked on hers, that smile froze into something colder, sharper. He leaned down to whisper to a woman beside him, Malik Jackson, Zora's own mother, and Zora's stomach twisted. Marlene turned, her face a mask of disappointment, her lips tight as she stared at her daughter. "Shit," Zora muttered under her breath. "My mom's here with him." Malik followed her gaze. "You want to talk to her?" "Not yet," Zora said, her voice tight. "Let's see what he does first." She didn't have to wait long. Derrick broke away from his group, striding across the room with the confidence of a man who owned the world, or at least thought he did. The crowd hushed, sensing the drama about to unfold. He stopped a few feet from Zora and Malik, his hands in his pockets, his head tilted in mock surprise. "Well, well," he drawled, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. "Zora Jackson and Malik Carter. Didn't expect y'all to have the guts to show up here tonight." Zora's fingers tightened around her clutch, but she didn't back down. "Didn't expect you to still be crying about me leaving your ass at the altar, Derrick." A ripple of gasps and stifled laughs spread through the onlookers. Derrick's jaw clenched, his smile twitching. "Cute, real cute. Why don't you tell everyone how long you were screwing around with him before you bailed on our wedding? 3 months, right? That's what the papers say." Malik stepped forward, his voice cutting through the air like a blade. "Back off, Langston. You don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, I know plenty," Derrick shot back, his eyes flicking to Malik with a sneer. "The reclusive tech guy who thinks he can swoop in and steal my fiancé? You're out of your league, Carter." Zora's blood boiled. She could feel the room closing in, every ear straining to catch her next words. She'd spent weeks running, hiding, doubting herself, but she was done with that now. She took a step closer to Derrick, her heels clicking on the polished floor, her voice steady despite the tremor in her chest. There was no affair, Derrick. I met Malik the day I ran from you. And you want to know why I ran? She raised her chin, her brown eyes blazing. Because you're a controlling bastard who stuck a damn tracker in my clothes. Because you threatened my friends when I wouldn't play your perfect little trophy wife. Because you're a liar who'd rather ruin me than admit you lost. The room went dead silent. Derrick's face flushed red, his hands balling into fists. You ungrateful little... He lunged toward her, but Malik was faster, planting himself between them like a wall. Touch her, he said, his voice low and deadly, and it'll be the last thing you do tonight. For a split second, Zora thought Derrick might swing. His chest heaved, his eyes wild with fury. Then a photographer edged closer, camera flashing, and Derrick's public mask snapped back into place. He straightened his jacket, forcing a laugh that didn't reach his eyes. This ain't over, Zora, he said, his tone dripping with menace. You think you can humiliate me and walk away? I've got people who'll make sure you regret this. He shot Malik a final glare. Both of you. With that, he turned on his heel and stormed off, the crowd parting like the Red Sea. Zora let out a shaky breath, her knees wobbling as the adrenaline drained out of her. Malik's arm slid around her waist, steadying her. You okay? He asked, his voice softer now, his thumb brushing her side. Yeah, she lied, her heart still racing. I think I just started a war. You didn't start it? Malik said, guiding her toward their table. He did, and you just won the first round. They sat down, surrounded by a few friendly faces, Dr. Elise Hammond from the Gardner Foundation among them, offering a warm smile and a quiet, "Good for you, girl." But Zora couldn't shake the feeling of eyes boring into her back, the weight of her mother's disapproval across the room, the threat in Derrick's parting words. She'd stood her ground, sure, but at what cost? As the gala buzzed back to life around them, Zora leaned closer to Malik, her voice barely above a whisper. How the hell did I end up here? 3 weeks ago I was about to marry that asshole. Malik's lips curved into a rare half-smile, his dark eyes locking on hers. 3 weeks ago, you ran straight into my yard, soaking wet and scared as hell. I'd say you've come a long way. She laughed, a small, shaky sound, and for a moment, the chaos faded. But deep down, she knew this was just the beginning. Derrick wasn't the type to let go easy, and whatever came next, she'd have to face it head-on. Rewind 3 weeks. Zora Jackson stood in front of a full-length mirror in the bridal suite of Ebenezer Baptist Church, one of Atlanta's oldest and proudest landmarks. The white dress hugged her body like a second skin, the satin gleaming against her rich brown complexion. Her hair was swept up in an elegant twist, tiny white flowers woven through the curls, a look that had taken her stylist 2 hours in a prayer to perfect. She should have been glowing, beaming, the happiest woman in the damn world. Instead, her hands trembled as she adjusted the veil, her stomach churning like she'd swallowed a nest of bees. In less than an hour, she'd walk down the aisle to marry Derrick Langston, Atlanta's golden boy. Rich, gorgeous, connected, the kind of man black mamas prayed their daughters would snag. He'd swept her off her feet 2 years ago with flowers, fancy dinners, and promises of a life she'd only seen in movies. But lately that charm had peeled back to reveal something uglier. The comments about her clothes. You're not wearing that, are you? The digs at her job. A Langston wife doesn't waste her time with snotty kids, the way he'd insisted she quit teaching after the wedding. You'll have charity luncheons, Zora. That's your job now, he'd said over steak at Bones, his favorite spot downtown, where she couldn't even argue without drawing stares. You look stunning, baby girl. her mother Marlene said, bustling into the room in a peach suit that screamed church lady chic. "Derrick's gonna lose his mind when he sees you." Zora forced a smile, her lips tight. "Thanks, Mama." Marlene frowned, stepping closer. "You okay, honey? You're pale as a ghost." "Just nerves," Zora lied, turning back to the mirror. She couldn't tell her mom the truth, that she'd spent the last 6 months watching Derrick turn into a stranger who didn't love her, just the idea of her on his arm, polished and obedient. "5 minutes, Miss Jackson," the wedding planner called through the door. "I'll go grab my seat," Marlene said, squeezing Zora's hand. "I'm so proud of you, sweetheart." The second the door clicked shut, Zora's chest tightened. She stumbled to the window, shoving it open, gulping the humid Atlanta air. Outside, the church garden was packed with guests. Men in tailored suits, women in wide-brimmed hats, white roses everywhere. It was picture perfect, a fairy tale for someone else. Her phone buzzed on the table. A text from Derrick. "Smile for the cameras, babe. Don't embarrass me with those nervous tics of yours." That was it. The final straw. She didn't think, just grabbed her purse with her phone and wallet, hiked up the heavy dress, and bolted. The hallway was empty, everyone already seated for her big entrance. Instead of turning right toward the sanctuary, she veered left, toward the side exit she'd scoped out during rehearsal. Her heart hammered as she pushed through the door, the beaded trains snagging on gravel as she hit the street. She ran, past the parked Bentleys and Benzes, past the valet guys yelling, "Miss, you okay?" She didn't stop, her satin heels blistering her feet, her lungs burning. Blocks blurred by. Peachtree Street, the neon signs of downtown Atlanta, until she couldn't run anymore. Slowing to a walk, she ignored the stares from folks on the sidewalk. A black bride in a soggy dress wasn't exactly an everyday sight, even in this city. Dark clouds rolled in, and the first raindrops hit her face. "Perfect," she muttered, just as the sky opened up. Within seconds, she was drenched, her updo ruined, mascara streaking down her cheeks. She needed shelter, a place to think. Spotting an iron gate ajar on a quiet side street, she darted through, ducking under a canopy of oaks lining a long driveway. The place was massive, manicured lawns, a sleek modern mansion in the distance. She'd never seen it before, despite growing up in Atlanta's West End. A gazebo by a pond caught her eye, and she stumbled inside, shivering as she sank onto a bench. The rain drummed on the roof, drowning out the world. For the first time all day, she let herself cry, big, ugly sobs that shook her whole body. What had she done? Where would she go? Derrick would be pissed, her mom heartbroken, the gossip all over Atlanta by morning. "This is private property," a deep voice cut through her breakdown. Zora yelped, nearly falling off the bench. A man stood at the gazebo's entrance, tall, maybe 6'2", with broad shoulders and a stern face. He wore jeans and a dark sweater, his sharp cheekbones catching the dim light, his eyes dark and suspicious. I'm sorry," she stammered, swiping at her tears. "It's raining, and I just needed—" "You're in a wedding dress," he said, flat as hell, like he was stating the weather. She glanced down at the soaked mess clinging to her. "Yeah, I was supposed to get married today, and now you're trespassing on my land." His tone wasn't angry, more curious, but it still stung. "I'll go," she said, standing too fast. Dizziness hit, and she stumbled. He caught her arm, his grip firm, but not rough. "When's the last time you ate?" he asked, frowning. "Yesterday, maybe," she mumbled. "I was too nervous this morning." He sighed, like he was mad at himself for what came next. "You can't go anywhere in this storm. Come to the house, dry off, get some food. Then you can call someone to get you." I can't call anyone, she said, panic rising. They'll make me go back. I can't go back. He studied her, rain pounding around them. I'm Malik Carter, he said finally. And you are? Zora. Zora Jackson. Well, Zora Jackson, you look like you're running from something big. His eyes narrowed. You in trouble? Not like you think, she said. No one's hitting me or anything. I couldn't marry him. He's not who I thought he was. Malik nodded once, decisive. House is this way. She followed him down a stone path, her dress dragging, her mind spinning. 3 weeks ago, she'd been ready to say I do to Derrick Langston. Now she was trailing a stranger through the rain, wondering if she'd just jumped from one mess into another. But something about Malik's quiet strength told her she might have landed exactly where she needed to be. Hey, y'all! If you're hooked on Zora's wild night at the gala and want to know how she went from runaway bride to badass, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. What do you think? Did she do the right thing calling out Derrick? Let me know. The rain pounded the streets of Atlanta like it had a personal grudge, turning Peachtree into a blurry mess of neon lights and honking horns. Zora Jackson stood under the dripping eaves of Malik Carter's gazebo, her wedding dress clinging to her like a drowned ghost, the white satin now a muddy gray against her brown skin. Her curls, once pinned up with flowers, hung heavy and wet around her face, and her chest heaved from the run, blocks and blocks of pure adrenaline. She'd bolted from Ebenezer Baptist Church without a plan, just a gut-deep need to get the hell out. Now, here she was, shivering in some stranger's backyard, staring at a man who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Malik Carter towered over her, his dark sweater soaked at the shoulders, his jaw tight as he sized her up. You're gonna catch pneumonia out here, he said, his voice low but firm, like he was used to people listening. Come on. Zora hesitated, her blisters screaming in her soggy heels. I don't even know you. And I don't know you, he shot back. But I'm not leaving you in my damn yard like some lost puppy. Move. Something about his no-nonsense tone cut through her panic. She nodded, clutching her little purse tighter as she followed him up the stone path. The rain stung her face, but she barely noticed, too busy taking in the sprawl of his property. Acres of manicured grass, a pond glinting under the storm, and a mansion that looked like it belonged in some architecture magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows glowed warm against the gray sky, all sleek lines and glass. Whoever this guy was, he had money. Big money. They slipped in through a side door into a mudroom, the kind with slate tiles and hooks that probably never held anything as basic as a raincoat. Malik disappeared for a second, then came back with a fluffy towel and a stack of clothes, gray sweatpants and a faded Spelman college tee. Bathrooms through there, he said, pointing down a hall. Change. Thanks, Zora muttered, her voice small as she took the bundle. The bathroom was bigger than her whole apartment back in the West End. Marble counters, a shower with more jets than she could count. She peeled off the dress, wincing as it stuck to her thighs, and let it drop in a soggy heap. Her feet were a mess, red, raw, and blistered, but the dry clothes felt like a hug, soft against her skin. She toweled her hair, watching curls spring back to life in the mirror, and scrubbed the mascara streaks off her cheeks with a tissue. When she stepped out, she looked less like a runaway bride and more like herself again. Malik was in the kitchen, a wide open space with gleaming stainless steel and an island big enough to seat a dozen. He slid a plate across the counter, turkey sandwich, cut diagonal, with a glass of water. Eat, he said, not looking up from the electric kettle he was filling. Zora didn't argue. She hadn't realized how hungry she was until the first bite hit her tongue. Salty, simple, perfect. She ate fast, crumbs falling as Malik watched her with that unreadable stare of his. "These ain't your clothes," she said between bites, nodding at the Spellman tee. "My sister's," he replied, curt as hell. "She leaves stuff here sometimes. She around?" "Nah. Paris." His tone shut down any follow-up questions, so Zora just nodded, sipping her water. The kettle clicked off, and he poured 2 mugs of tea, sliding one her way. She wrapped her hands around it, the warmth seeping into her palms. "So," Malik said, leaning against the counter, "what's the plan, Zora Jackson?" She stared into the steam rising from her mug. "I don't got one. I just knew I couldn't marry Derrick. It hit me all at once. He don't love me. He loves controlling me, turning me into some Stepford wife for his fancy-ass friends." Malik's face didn't change, but his eyes softened a fraction. "And your folks?" "My mama thinks Derrick's the best thing since sliced bread. She's probably losing her mind right now. My daddy passed when I was a kid, so it's just her." Zora's throat tightened. "I should call her, let her know I'm okay, but she'll drag me back to him kicking and screaming." "Where you gonna go?" "I got a friend, Tasha. She might let me crash with her, but Derrick knows where she lives." Zora bit her lip, the reality sinking in. "Maybe a hotel for a couple days, figure shit out." Malik was quiet, like he was wrestling with something in his head. Finally, he said, "You can stay here." Her eyes widened. "What? No, I can't." "This house has 6 bedrooms," he cut in, matter of fact. "You can take one till you get your head straight, unless you'd rather a hotel." Zora blinked at him. "Why you helping me? You don't even know me." His lips twitched, not quite a smile. "Let's just say I know what it's like to need a breather from the world. I see it in you." Before she could answer, his phone rang. He pulled it from his pocket, glanced at the screen, and frowned. "I gotta take this. Guest room's upstairs, first door on the right. Get settled." He walked off, already barking, "Carter!" into the phone. Left alone, Zora wandered upstairs, her bare feet sinking into plush carpet. The guest room was simple but luxe. Crisp white sheets, a queen bed that looked like a cloud, windows overlooking the rain-soaked garden. She sat on the edge, exhaustion crashing over her. The adrenaline that had carried her this far was gone, leaving her hollowed out. Her wet dress was still downstairs, a crumpled reminder of the day she'd almost lost herself. Part of her wanted to burn it. Part of her wanted to cry all over again. She lay back, eyes heavy, promising herself just a quick rest. When she woke, the room was dark except for a soft lamp glowing on the nightstand. Someone had turned it on. The clock read 9:17 p.m. She'd slept for hours. On a chair by the window sat a neat stack of clothes, jeans, a sweater, socks, even a pack of new underwear, tags still on. A note in sharp, slanted handwriting. "These should fit. Kitchen's stocked if you're hungry." Zora's eyes stung. When was the last time someone did something this nice, no strings attached? She washed up, changed into the new clothes, perfect fit somehow, and padded downstairs. The house was quiet, warm lights spilling down the hall. In the kitchen she raided the fridge, eggs, bacon, a loaf of bread, and whipped up a quick scramble, the sizzle filling the silence. She was halfway through her plate when footsteps approached. Malik appeared in the doorway, now in dark pants and a gray button-down, looking like he just stepped out of a meeting. "You're up," he said. "Yeah. Thanks for the clothes, and letting me crash." She gestured to her plate. "Hope you don't mind me cooking." He shook his head. "Your phone's been blowing up. I charged it in the living room." Zora groaned. "How many calls?" 20-something. Guy named Derrick's real persistent." Her stomach knotted. "I should check it, huh?" "Up to you," Malik said, pausing. "But it can wait till morning if you ain't ready." She exhaled, grateful for the out. "I'm not." He nodded, then grabbed a bottle of whiskey from a cabinet, pouring 2 short glasses. He slid one to her. "To dodging bullets," he said, raising his. She clinked hers against it. "To unexpected hideouts." The whiskey burned going down, a good kind of heat. They sat in silence for a minute, the rain tapping the windows. Zora glanced at him, curiosity itching. "Why you helping me for real? Most folks would have called the cops on a random chick in their yard." Malik took a slow sip. "I've been where you are, needing to disappear. Figured you could use a break." She tilted her head. "What do you do, Malik?" "Tech. Security software. My company's got contracts all over. Government, businesses, you name it." "That why you live like this?" She waved a hand at the kitchen. "Gates, cameras, the works." "Partly," he said. "I like my space. Papers call me a hermit." "You a hermit?" He smirked, just a flicker. "I'm picky about who I let in." "Well, thanks for picking me today," she said, smiling back. "I'd be screwed otherwise." "You'd have figured it out," he said, finishing his drink. "You're scrappy. Get some rest, Zora. Shit always looks better in the morning." He left her there, the whiskey glass empty, her mind spinning. She didn't know what tomorrow held. Derrick's wrath, her mama's guilt trips, a life she'd just blown up. But for tonight, she was safe. And that was something. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the guest room blinds, waking Zora with a start. For a second, she thought she was back in her old place off MLK Drive. Then the soft sheets and the smell of coffee hit her. She wasn't home. She was in Malik Carter's world, and yesterday wasn't a nightmare. It was real. She'd ditched her wedding, her fiancé, her whole damn future. Now what? Downstairs, Malik was in the kitchen, fresh from a run, sweat-slicked shirt, coffee mug in hand, scrolling something on a tablet. "Morning," he said, barely looking up. "Coffee's on. Groceries got delivered. Help yourself." "You didn't have to do all that," she said, pouring a cup. "It's just food, Zora." He cut off her thanks. "Your phone's in the living room. Rang till it died last night. I plugged it in." She nodded, steeling herself as she grabbed it. The screen lit up, 53 missed calls, 87 texts, 32 voicemails. Derrick, Mama, Tasha, even some random numbers, probably reporters sniffing around. She hit play on the first voicemail, her mom's voice crackling through. "Zora, where you at? Call me back, girl. We're worried sick. Derrick's a mess. Whatever's got you spooked, we can fix it. Come home." The next few were the same, pleading, guilt-tripping. Then Derrick's voice cut in, cold as ice. "Zora, this is bullshit. You humiliated me. The press is all over it. Get your ass back here so we can clean up your mess." She deleted it, hands shaking. The next one was worse. "You think you can do this to me? I put too much into you. Time, money, my reputation. I've got people looking for you. They'll find you." A chill ran down her spine. She looked up to see Malik watching her, his eyes hard. "Bad news?" "Derrick's got folks hunting me," she said, her voice cracking. "He's pissed. Sounds unhinged." Malik crossed the room, holding out his hand. "Let me hear." She handed him the phone, and he listened, his face darkening. "He's trying to scare you," he said, tossing it back. "Guys like him get off on that." "You sound like you know his type." "Seen plenty in my line of work," he said. "Bullies with money. What you gonna do?" "I gotta call my mama," she said, rubbing her temples. "She's freaking out. But I ain't going back to Derrick. That's for damn sure." "Use my office if you want privacy," he offered, nodding to a door across the hall. "I've got some calls to make." The office was all clean lines and glass, a big desk facing a view of the back gardens. Zora sank into the leather chair, dialing her mom with shaky fingers. Marlene picked up on the first ring. "Zora? Oh, thank God. Where you at? You okay?" "I'm fine, Mama," Zora said. "I'm safe. Sorry I scared you." "What the hell were you thinking, running off like that?" Marlene's voice climbed. "You know what you've done. Derrick's family is livid. He's torn up, baby." "Mama, I couldn't marry him," Zora said, firm. "He's not who you think. He's controlling, wanted me to quit my job, kept tabs on me. That ain't love." "That's nonsense," Marlene snapped. "He's looking out for you. Men like Derrick got standards. You were set, Zora." "No, I was trapped," Zora shot back. "I'm not giving up me for him." Marlene sighed, heavy. "Where you staying? I'll come get you." "With a friend," Zora lied. "I need time, Mama." "Time for what? Derrick's willing to take you back, push the wedding a month?" "No," Zora cut in. "I'm not marrying him. Not next month, not ever. I messed up saying yes, and I'm fixing it." "You're throwing away everything," Marlene said, her voice rising. "Your daddy would have wanted you secure, not chasing some fool dream." "Daddy would have wanted me happy," Zora said, tears pricking her eyes. "Derrick don't make me happy." "You're acting like a child," Marlene said. "Call me when you grow up." The line went dead. Zora dropped the phone, blinking back tears. She'd known her mom would fight for Derrick. He was her golden ticket, the son-in-law she'd bragged about at church. But hearing it still hurt like hell. A soft knock pulled her out of it. Malik stood there, 2 mugs in hand. "Thought you might need this," he said, handing her coffee. "Thanks," she said, taking it. "Sorry I hogged your office." "Sounded rough," he said, leaning on the desk. She on his side. "Yeah, thinks I'm crazy for leaving him." Zora sipped the coffee, bitter and strong. "Maybe I am." "Nah," Malik said. "Takes guts to walk away from that. Most folks don't." She looked up at him, his steady gaze cutting through her doubt. "I thought he was my shot, you know. Big house, big life, but it wasn't me." "He sold you a cage with a nice view," Malik said. "You saw through it. That's more than most." She managed a small smile. "Guess I owe you for not kicking me out that cage into the rain." "You don't owe me shit," he said, standing. "I've got work to handle. Make yourself at home. Library's down the hall if you're bored." As he left, Zora felt a flicker of something. Hope, maybe. She'd lost everything today, but she'd found a lifeline in this quiet, gruff stranger. And for now, that was enough to keep her going. The rain had slowed to a drizzle by the time Zora Jackson settled into Malik Carter's kitchen, the smell of her scrambled eggs still lingering in the air. She sat at the island, picking at the last bites on her plate, her mind a tangle of what-ifs and oh-shits. 3 weeks ago, she'd been a bride-to-be, her life mapped out in Derrick Langston's perfect little blueprint. Big house in Buckhead, charity galas, a wardrobe full of labels she couldn't pronounce. Now she was hiding out in a stranger's mansion, wearing borrowed sweats, her wedding dress a soggy heap downstairs. It was a mess, but damn if it didn't feel like freedom. Malik had disappeared after their whiskey toast, leaving her alone with her thoughts and the hum of the fridge. She rinsed her plate, the hot water stinging her blistered hands, and wandered into the living room to grab her phone. It sat on a sleek charger by the sofa. 47 missed calls now, 93 texts. The voicemails piling up like a bad debt. Derrick's last message played on repeat in her head. "I've got people looking for you. They'll find you." Her stomach twisted, a cold knot of fear she couldn't shake. He wasn't bluffing. Derrick had the money, the connections, the kind of pull that got shit done in Atlanta. She scrolled through the texts instead, avoiding his name. Tasha Brooks, her ride or die since Spelman days, had blown up her inbox. "Girl, where you at? Call me ASAP." Derrick's out here saying you lost your damn mind. What's good? Zora, I'm worried. Hit me back. Her mom's messages were shorter, sharper. You better have a good explanation. Call me now, Zora Michelle. She hovered over Tasha's number, then set the phone down. Not yet. She wasn't ready to explain this to anyone, not when she barely understood it herself. The house was too quiet, the kind of silence that pressed in on you. Zora padded down the hall, her bare feet sinking into the carpet, until she found the library Malik had mentioned. Floor-to-ceiling shelves lined the walls, packed with books, leather-bound classics, tech manuals, a few dog-eared paperbacks that looked well-loved. She ran her fingers along the spines, pulling out a worn copy of Their Eyes Were Watching God. Her daddy used to read it to her when she was little, his deep voice bringing Janie to life. Good stories don't ever go out of style, he'd say, and she'd curl up on his lap, dreaming of a world bigger than their little house off MLK Drive. She sank into an armchair, the leather creaking under her, and cracked the book open. The familiar words pulled her in, a lifeline to a time when things made sense. Hours slipped by, the rain tapping the windows, until Malik's voice broke her trance. You into the classics, huh? Zora looked up, startled. He leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, still in that gray button-down that hugged his chest just right. Yeah, she said, closing the book. My daddy loved this one. Said it was about finding yourself. Smart man, Malik said, stepping inside. Mine read me Hemingway. Different vibe. He around? She asked, then caught the shadow that crossed his face. Nah. Lost both my folks when I was 23. Car wreck. Damn. I'm sorry, Zora said, her chest tightening. I lost my daddy at 12. Heart attack. Malik nodded, like he got it. And for a minute, they just sat with that shared quiet. Then her phone buzzed on the armrest, shattering it. She glanced at the screen. Derrick. Her stomach flipped. You don't have to pick up, Malik said, watching her. If I don't, he'll keep calling, she said, hitting answer before she could overthink it. What, Derrick? Where the fuck are you? His voice was ice cold, the kind that used to make her shrink. I've been patient, Zora, but this little tantrum's gone far enough. I'm safe, she said, keeping it short. That's all you need to know. That's not how this works, he snapped. I spent months setting up that wedding, introducing you to the right people, building a life for us. You don't get to just walk out. Yeah, I do, she said, finding her spine. I don't want to marry you, Derrick. I'm done. He laughed, harsh and bitter. What? You think there's someone else? That why you ran? No, this is about you, she fired back. How you treated me, telling me what to wear, who to see, acting like I'm some damn doll you can dress up. I gave you everything, he said, his voice rising. Clothes, jewelry, a shot at a life you'd never touch on that shitty teacher's paycheck. You were nothing before me. I was me, she said, her voice steady now. And I don't want your cage. I'm free. This ain't over, he growled. I'll find you, Zora. No one makes a fool out of me. The line went dead, and she dropped the phone, her hands shaking. Malik's eyes were on her, dark and unreadable. He's not taking it well. No shit, she said, forcing a laugh that didn't land. I'm sorry I dragged this into your house. Maybe I should bounce. He's got resources, Malik said, his tone hard. If he finds you here, he might try something stupid, but I've dealt with worse than him. You're good. You don't get it, she said, standing. His daddy's on the city council. They've got cops in their pocket. He could fuck with you too. Malik's smile was thin, dangerous. My company locks down half the government buildings in this state. Trust me, I can handle Derrick Langston." She stared at him, his confidence cutting through her panic. "Why are you so sure?" "'Cause I don't scare easy," he said, stepping closer. "And I don't like bullies." Before she could respond, headlights flashed through the library window, cutting across the bookshelves. Zora froze, her breath catching. "That him?" Malik moved to the glass, peering out. "Black sedan, tinted windows. They're just sitting there." "Shit," she whispered, her heart hammering. "He found me already?" "Stay here," he said, heading for the door. "I'll check it out." "No, wait!" She grabbed his arm, her fingers digging in. "What if it's his people?" "Then they'll wish they stayed home," he said, shaking her off. "Lock the door behind me." He was gone before she could argue, slipping out into the night. Zora bolted the library door, her pulse racing as she peeked through the blinds. The car idled at the gate, headlights glaring, a shadow moving inside. Minutes dragged by, each one heavier than the last, until Malik came back, rain dripping off his hair. "Gone," he said, locking the front door behind him. "They didn't try the gate, probably scoping the place." "How'd he find me so fast?" she asked, her voice trembling. Malik's jaw tightened. "Good question. We'll figure it out. For now, you're staying put." She nodded, sinking back into the chair, the book forgotten in her lap. Derrick wasn't playing. This was real, and it was coming for her. But Malik's steady presence, the way he'd faced down the dark without flinching, made her feel something she hadn't in months. Safe. The next day hit like a freight train. Zora woke to sunlight slicing through the guest room blinds, her body aching from yesterday's chaos. Downstairs, Malik was already up, nursing coffee in running gear. Black shorts, a sweat-soaked tee clinging to his chest. He looked up from his tablet. "Sleep okay?" "Barely," she said, grabbing a mug. "You?" "Enough," he said. "Groceries came. Eat something." She rummaged through the fridge, eggs, grits, a pack of bacon, and started cooking, the sizzle filling the quiet. Malik watched her, sipping his coffee. "You cook a lot?" "Grew up on it," she said, stirring the grits. "Mama taught me. Soul food's how we survived after Daddy passed." "Smells good," he said, and she caught a flicker of a smile. They ate in silence, the grits creamy, the bacon crisp. It was normal, almost, until her phone buzzed again. She ignored it, but Malik didn't. "Derrick?" "Probably," she said, pushing her plate away. "He's not letting this go." "Let me hear it," he said, holding out his hand. She handed it over, and he played the latest voicemail on speaker. Derrick's voice filled the room, low and furious. "Zora, you're testing me. I've got eyes everywhere. You can't hide. Call me back, or I'll make this ugly." Malik's face hardened. "He's escalating." "Yeah," she said, hugging herself. "He's got people watching me." "That car last night?" "Might have been his," Malik finished. "We need to be careful." "Careful?" she snapped, fear turning to anger. "I'm not some damsel you gotta protect, Malik. I need to figure this out." "You think I don't get that?" he shot back, standing. "I'm not locking you up. I'm keeping you alive till you can stand on your own." She glared at him, then deflated. "I know. I hate this." "Me too," he said softer. "But we'll deal with it. Together." She nodded, the word together hanging heavy between them. She didn't know what it meant yet, not really, but it felt like a promise, and right now, with Derrick's shadow creeping closer, that was enough. Hours later, Zora sat in Malik's office, the phone pressed to her ear. Tasha picked up fast. "Zora? Girl, thank God. Where you been?" I'm safe, Zora said. With a friend. New number. Don't give it out. Who's the friend? Tasha asked, suspicious. I'm your bestie. Thought I'd know. It's complicated, Zora said. I just needed to bounce after Derrick. He's losing it, Tasha said, her voice dropping. Showed up at my place asking where you were. Said some wild shit, like he could get my man fired if I was hiding you. Zora's stomach sank. I'm sorry, Tash. He's unhinged. What happened? Tasha pressed. One day you're all bride vibes. Next, you're ghost. I saw him for real, Zora said. He's controlling, manipulative. I couldn't do it. Damn, Tasha said. I tried to warn you. Remember that car he surprised you with? Felt off. You were right, Zora admitted. I was blind. So now what? I'm figuring it out, Zora said. I'll call you soon, okay? Stay safe, girl, Tasha said. Love you. Love you too. Zora hung up, staring at the phone. Derrick was coming for her. She could feel it. But she wasn't alone anymore. That night, she and Malik sat on his back porch, the air thick with humidity. He poured whiskey again, the bottle glinting in the porch light. You good? He asked. For now, she said, clinking her glass to his. Thanks for not kicking me out. Yet, he teased, and she laughed, the sound cutting through the tension. Asshole, she said, grinning. Why you really doing this? He looked at her, serious now. My sister, Lena, ran from a guy like Derrick. I didn't help her fast enough. Not making that mistake again. She nodded, the weight of his words settling in. Guess we're both running from something. Guess so, he said, and they drank, the night stretching out ahead, full of shadows and possibilities. The morning sun crept through the blinds of Malik Carter's guest room, painting stripes across Zora Jackson's face as she stirred awake. For a split second, she thought she was back in her old apartment off MLK Drive, the familiar hum of Atlanta traffic outside her window. Then the plush sheets and the faint smell of Malik's coffee hit her, and yesterday crashed back, running from her wedding, Derrick's threats, that damn car lurking outside. She sat up, rubbing her eyes, her borrowed Spellman tea twisted around her waist. 3 days ago she'd been a bride-to-be. Now she was a fugitive in some tech millionaire's mansion, and the weight of it all pressed down like a humid Georgia summer. Downstairs, Malik was in the kitchen, fresh from his run, black tank top sticking to his chest, coffee steaming in a mug. He glanced up from his tablet. You're up early. Couldn't sleep, Zora said, pouring herself a cup. Too much in my head. He nodded like he got it, and went back to scrolling. She watched him for a second, the sharp line of his jaw, the way his shoulders filled out that shirt. He was a mystery, this guy. Quiet, gruff, but steady in a way that made her feel less like the world was spinning out of control. She grabbed some eggs from the fridge, cracking them into a pan, the sizzle filling the silence. You don't have to cook for me, Malik said, not looking up. Who said it's for you? She shot back, smirking. I'm hungry. He snorted, a small laugh, and she caught a glimpse of something softer under that hard exterior. They ate at the island. Eggs and toast for her, just coffee for him. The kind of quiet that didn't need filling. Until her phone buzzed again, breaking it. She sighed, glancing at the screen. Tasha this time, not Derrick. Gotta take this, she said, stepping into the living room. She hit call, and Tasha picked up fast. Zora, you good, girl? Tasha's voice was all worry and relief. Yeah, I'm good, Zora said, pacing by the big windows. Sorry I left you hanging. Where you at? Derrick's out here wildin'. Showed up at my spot again last night, talking crazy. Zora's stomach dropped. What'd he say? Said you're having some kind of breakdown, that he's worried about you, Tasha said, her tone dripping with sarcasm. Bullshit, obviously. Then he got real quiet, asked if I knew where you were. I told him to kick rocks, but he's got that vibe, Zora, like he's up to something. Shit, Zora muttered, glancing out at the garden. He left me a voicemail yesterday, said he's got people looking for me. Damn, for real? Tasha's voice went low. You need to watch your back. Where you staying? With a friend, Zora said, keeping it vague. Somewhere safe. Who's the friend? Tasha pressed. You're being all cryptic. Don't tell me you're shacked up with some rando. Zora laughed, shaky. Not a rando, just someone who's helping me out. Uh-huh, Tasha said, skeptical. Well, keep your head on a swivel. Derrick's not playing. I know, Zora said. Thanks, Tash. Love you. Love you too, girl. Call me if you need me. She hung up, staring at the phone. Derrick wasn't letting this go. He was hunting her, and the thought made her skin crawl. She wandered back to the kitchen, where Malik was rinsing his mug. Everything cool? He asked, drying his hands. Not really, she said, sinking onto a stool. Derrick's sniffing around my best friend now. She says he's acting off. Malik's jaw tightened. He's desperate. That's when guys like him get sloppy. Or dangerous, she said, her voice small. I can't keep hiding here forever. You don't have to, he said, leaning on the counter. But you need a plan. What's your next move? She ran a hand through her curls, thinking. I gotta get my life back. My job, teaching. Derrick made me quit when we got engaged, said it wasn't fitting for his fiancé. I need that again. Malik nodded. Start there. You got a resume? Yeah, but it's old, she said. Haven't updated it since I left the school. Use my office, he said. Get it done. I might know a gig. She raised an eyebrow. What kind of gig? My company funds an education foundation, he said, casual as hell. They're looking for someone to run their preschool programs. You'd be a fit. Zora blinked. You're offering me a job? I'm saying you should apply, he corrected. Director calls the shots, not me. But your teaching gig checks out. She stared at him, suspicious but intrigued. Why you keep doing this? First the room, now this. What's in it for you? He shrugged, meeting her eyes. Nothing. Just don't like seeing someone get crushed when they're trying to climb out. She held his gaze, searching for the catch. There wasn't one, not that she could see. Okay, she said finally. I'll think about it. Good, he said, grabbing his keys. I've got a meeting downtown. Make yourself at home. He was out the door before she could say more, leaving her alone in the big, quiet house. She spent the morning in his office, the view of the garden stretching out beyond the glass. Her laptop hummed as she dug up her old resume. 2 years at Carver Elementary, glowing reviews from parents, a passion for kids that Derrick had laughed at. You're not changing the world with finger paint, he'd said once, smirking over his wine. Asshole. By noon, she had a solid draft, her fingers flying over the keys. It felt good, reclaiming something he'd taken. She was deep into it when the doorbell rang, sharp and sudden. She froze, her heart kicking up. Malik wasn't expecting anyone. He'd said so. She crept to the window, peering through the blinds. A black sedan sat in the driveway, same tinted windows as last night. A man in a dark jacket stood at the door, ringing again. Shit, she whispered, ducking low. Her phone was in the office. She bolted back, grabbing it and texting Malik. Someone's here. Black car, what do I do? His reply came fast. Stay inside. Don't open the door. I'm on my way. She crouched by the desk, her breath shallow, listening as the doorbell stopped. Footsteps crunched outside, circling the house. A shadow passed the window, and she bit her lip to keep from gasping. Minutes dragged like hours, until she heard a car engine rev and peel out. She peeked again. Gone. Her phone buzzed. "You okay?" Malik. "Yeah," she typed back, hands shaking. "They left. Be there in 20. Sit tight." She sank to the floor, hugging her knees. Derrick was closing in. She could feel it in her bones. When Malik burst through the door later, his face was all hard lines and worry. "You good?" he asked, dropping his keys. "Yeah," she said, standing. "Just freaked out." He crossed the room, checking the windows. "They didn't try to get in, probably testing the place." "How'd he find me?" she asked, her voice cracking. "I didn't tell anyone." "We'll figure it out," he said, turning to her. "I'm calling my security team. They'll sweep the house, see if he's tracking you somehow." She nodded, numb. "I'm sorry, Malik. This is my mess, and now it's yours." "Stop that," he said, sharp. "You didn't ask for this. He's the one crossing lines." She looked at him, his eyes fierce but steady, and something shifted. She wasn't just a guest anymore. She was in this with him, whether she liked it or not. That afternoon, Malik's security team rolled up. 3 guys in black polos, all business, hauling gear like they were prepping for a sting. They combed the house, checking every corner, while Zora watched from the kitchen, sipping tea to calm her nerves. Malik stood by, arms crossed, barking orders when they slacked. An hour later, the lead guy, a stocky dude named Reggie, came back with a grim look. "Found something," he said, holding up a tiny black device, smaller than a dime. "Tracker, sewn into the hem of that wedding dress downstairs." Zora's mug slipped, splashing tea across the counter. "What?" "High-end shit," Reggie said. "Expensive. Someone wanted to keep tabs on you bad." She stared at the tracker, her stomach churning. "He put that in my dress? Before the wedding?" "Looks like it," Malik said, his voice tight. "He's been watching you longer than you thought." "I feel sick," she whispered, wrapping her arms around herself. "What kind of psycho does that?" "The kind who thinks he owns you," Malik said, his eyes dark. "We got it now. He's got no eyes here anymore." Reggie nodded. "We'll finish the sweep, make sure there's nothing else. Grounds are clean so far." As they left, Zora sank onto a stool, her head spinning. Derrick had planned this, tracked her like some damn animal, even before she ran. She thought of all those times he'd surprised her, showing up at her school unannounced, texting her exact locations like he was psychic. It wasn't sweet. It was surveillance. Malik sat across from her, his face unreadable. "You okay?" "No," she said, honest. "I never really knew him, did I?" "He showed you what he wanted you to see," Malik said. "Guys like that. They lock you in, then flip the script." She nodded, tears prickling. "What now?" "He's not going to stop. We play smart," he said. "You rebuild. Job, place, whatever you need. I'll handle the security. He's not getting near you." She looked at him, his quiet strength holding her together. "Why are you doing this, Malik? For real?" He leaned forward, elbows on the counter. "My sister Lena, she married a guy like Derrick. Took her years to get out. I saw the signs, didn't do enough. Not this time." She reached out, her hand brushing his. "I'm not her." "I know," he said, his fingers curling around hers for a second before pulling back. "But you're worth it." Her breath caught, the air between them thick with something unspoken. She didn't push it, not yet. But as he stood to check the locks, she felt a spark she hadn't in years. Not love, not quite, but something alive. That night, Zora couldn't sleep. She tossed in the guest bed, the tracker haunting her thoughts. Around midnight, she gave up, padding downstairs in the dark. Malik was on the sofa, a whiskey glass in hand, the TV flickering some old action flick on mute. "Couldn't sleep either?" she asked, curling up on the other end. "Nah," he said, offering her the bottle. She took a swig, the burn steadying her. They sat there, the silence easy, the whiskey warming her from the inside. She glanced at him, his profile sharp in the TV glow, his guard down for once. "You ever get tired of being alone in this big-ass house?" "Sometimes," he said, eyes on the screen. "But it's simpler." "Simple don't mean happy," she said, soft. He turned to her, his gaze intense. "You happy, Zora?" "Not yet," she said, honest. "But I'm getting there." He nodded, a small smile tugging his lips. "Good." They stayed like that, the night stretching out, two people running from their pasts, finding something in the quiet. It wasn't much, but it was a start. The afternoon sun slanted through the big windows of Malik Carter's office, casting long shadows across the hardwood floor as Zora Jackson hunched over her laptop. The room smelled faintly of leather and coffee, a quiet sanctuary from the storm brewing outside her life. Her fingers tapped fast, updating her resume. 2 years at Carver Elementary, glowing parent reviews. A knack for turning chaos into learning. It felt good, like digging up a piece of herself Derrick Langston had buried. She'd quit teaching for him. "A Langston wife doesn't waste time with crayons," he'd said, smirking over his bourbon. Now, every line she typed was a middle finger to that memory. Her phone sat silent on the desk, a rare break from the barrage of calls and texts. She'd turned it off after Tasha's warning. Derrick was out there, sniffing around, and that tracker in her wedding dress still made her skin crawl. She shivered, pushing the thought down. Focus. She needed a job, a lifeline, something to anchor her in this mess. Malik's tip about the Gardner Foundation gig lingered in her mind. Preschool programs, her wheelhouse. It was a long shot, but it was hers. The doorbell rang, sharp and sudden, jolting her out of her groove. She froze, heart kicking up. Malik was downtown, had been gone for hours. She crept to the window, peering through the blinds. A black sedan idled in the driveway, same tinted windows, same bad vibes as the night before. A guy in a dark jacket stood at the door, ringing again, his posture too casual for comfort. "Shit," she hissed, ducking low. Her phone was right there. She snatched it, texting Malik. "He's back. Black car. Guy at the door." His reply buzzed fast. "Don't move. I'm 15 out. Lock yourself in." She bolted the office door, her breath shallow, listening as the ringing stopped. Footsteps crunched outside, slow and deliberate, circling the house. A shadow slid past the window, and she bit her lip, her pulse hammering. Minutes dragged, 5, 10, until she heard tires squeal and the sedan peeled out. She peeked again. Gone. Her phone buzzed. "You good?" "Malik." "Yeah," she typed, hands shaky. "They split." "Stay put. Almost there." She sank against the wall, hugging her knees. Derrick wasn't playing. This was a hunt, and she was the prey. When Malik burst in minutes later, his tie loose and his face tight, he scanned her like she might have vanished. "You okay?" "Yeah," she said, standing. "Just rattled." He checked the windows, his movements sharp. "They didn't try the locks, probably testing us again." "How's he finding me?" she asked, her voice cracking. "I didn't tell a soul." "We'll figure it out," he said, his tone hard. "Security's coming tomorrow. They'll sweep everything. She nodded, numb. I can't keep doing this, Malik. Hiding like some scared kid. You're not, he said, turning to her. You're fighting. Takes guts. She met his eyes, that steady, dark gaze holding her together. Feels more like running. Sometimes running's the first step, he said softer. You'll get there. She exhaled, the tension easing a fraction. He was right. She wasn't done yet, not by a long shot. The next day, Malik's security team rolled up at dawn. Reggie and 2 other guys, all muscle and no nonsense, hauling gear like they were prepping for war. Zora watched from the kitchen, sipping coffee as they combed the house. Malik stood by, arms crossed, barking orders when they slacked. An hour in, Reggie came back, holding up that damn tracker from her dress. Only one we found, he said, his voice gruff. House is clean now, grounds too. Zora's stomach twisted. He planned this shit before I even ran. Looks like it, Malik said, his jaw tight. He's been on you from jump. She hugged herself, the violation sinking in. I thought he was just protective. Showing up at my school, texting me where I was. It wasn't sweet. It was him watching me. Malik's eyes darkened. He's a control freak. We've got the upper hand now. No more eyes. Reggie nodded. We'll keep a guy posted outside till this blows over. You're good. As they packed up, Zora felt a spark of defiance. Derrick wanted her scared, small. Screw that. She turned to Malik. I'm applying for that foundation job. Today. He raised an eyebrow. Yeah? Yeah, she said, firm. I'm done letting him run my life. Good, he said, a flicker of a smile. Office is yours. She spent the afternoon polishing her resume, crafting a cover letter that sang, her love for kids, her knack for building something out of nothing. By evening, she'd sent it off to Dr. Elise Hammond at the Gardner Foundation, her heart pounding as she hit submit. It wasn't just a job. It was a lifeline, a way to claw back what Derrick had taken. Malik came home late, carrying takeout bags from Pascal's, fried chicken, collards, cornbread, the works. Figured you earned it, he said, setting them on the counter. Zora grinned, the smell hitting her like home. You know soul food? Grew up in Decatur, he said, shrugging. Mama loved Pascal's. They ate at the island, the food warm and familiar, easing the day's edge. She caught him watching her, his usual guard down a notch. What? She asked, licking grease off her fingers. You look different, he said, simple, lighter. Sent the application, she said, proud. Feels like me again. He nodded, tearing into a drumstick. Told you? You're scrappy. She laughed, the sound real for once. Guess I am. They finished eating, the kitchen quiet, except for the hum of the fridge. She glanced at him, his broad shoulders, the way his shirt hugged his arms. Something stirred low and warm, and she pushed it down. Not now. But when he brushed her hand clearing the plates, the spark hit anyway, her breath catching. Night, he said, heading upstairs, oblivious. Night, she called back, her heart thudding. Shit. This was complicated. 2 days later, Zora's phone rang. Doctor. Elise Hammond from the foundation. She answered fast, pacing the living room. Hello? Zora Jackson? The voice was warm, sharp. This is Elise Hammond. Got your application. Loved it. Zora's pulse jumped. Thank you, ma'am. Call me Elise, she said. Your experience at Carver? Spot on for what we need. Can you come in tomorrow, 10 a.m.? For real? Zora said, grinning. Yes, absolutely. Good, Elise said. Malik Carter vouched for you, too. Says you're the real deal. Zora blinked. He did? Don't sound so shocked, Elise laughed. He don't recommend just anybody. See you tomorrow. She hung up, staring at the phone. Malik had put in a word, quietly, no big show. She found him in the kitchen, pouring coffee. You talked to the foundation? He shrugged, not meeting her eyes. Just told him you're solid, that's it. She stepped closer, arms crossed. Why you keep doing this? Helping me? He set the mug down, turning to her. Told you. Seen this before? My sister Lena got tangled with a guy like Derrick. Took her 5 years and a busted arm to get free. I didn't step up soon enough, not making that mistake twice. Zora softened, the pieces clicking. She okay now? Yeah. Paris, he said, his voice tight. Rebuilding. She nodded, the air heavy. Thanks, Malik. For real. Don't mention it, he said, brushing past her. But his hand grazed her arm, and that spark flared again, hotter this time. The interview was a blur of nerves and hope. Zora wore a navy blazer and skirt, borrowed from Malik's sister's stash, courtesy of his assistant, and stepped into the Gardner Foundation's downtown office. Elise Hammond greeted her, a black woman in her 50s with a no-bullshit vibe and a smile that put her at ease. Your passion for kids jumps off the page, Elise said, leaning back in her chair. Tell me why this matters to you. Zora took a breath. Grew up in the West End. Single mom, tight budget. School was my safe spot, and my teachers made it that way. I want to give that to kids who need it. Elise nodded, impressed. That's what we're about. Access, quality. You've got the chops, Zora. We're interviewing a few more, but you're top of the list. Decision by Friday. Thank you, Zora said, beaming. This means everything. Malik was right about you, Elise added, standing. He don't vouch often. Zora left the building buzzing, the Atlanta skyline sharp against the sky. Malik waited in his car, engine idling. How'd it go? He asked as she slid in. Good, she said, grinning. Real good. Elise is dope. She's the best, he said, pulling into traffic. She offer it? Not yet. Couple more interviews. But she liked me. Said you put in a word. He kept his eyes on the road. Just told her the truth. She watched him, that quiet strength pulling at her. You're too much. You know that? He smirked. You're welcome. They grabbed lunch at a hole-in-the-wall Italian spot. Red-checkered tablecloths, candles in old wine bottles. Malik loosened his tie, looking almost relaxed. Haven't been here in years, he said. My folks loved it. What were they like? She asked, twirling spaghetti. Dad was a grinder. Worked it till he made it big. Mom was the glue. Warm, funny. They were tight. His voice softened. Lost 'em young. Mine too, she said. Daddy was gone at 12. Mama raised me solo. Worked 2 jobs to keep me in school. Explains you, he said, meeting her eyes. Tough as hell. She laughed, shy. Guess so. His hand brushed hers across the table, lingering a beat too long. Her pulse jumped, the air thick with something new. He pulled back, clearing his throat. We should head back. Yeah, she said, breathless. But the moment stuck, a thread pulling tighter. That night, Zora cooked. Chicken and dumplings, her mama's recipe, the kitchen filling with steam and comfort. Malik came home, sniffing the air. Damn, that smells like Sunday. Tastes like it too, she said, handing him a bowl. They ate on the porch, the air cooling, crickets chirping. She caught him staring again. What? She asked, smirking. Your trouble, he said, half serious. Me? She teased. You're the one letting a runaway crash your spot. He chuckled, low and warm. Fair. She leaned closer, her knee brushing his. Why you really alone out here, Malik? Big house, no family? He stiffened, then sighed. After my folks died, I threw myself into work, built the company, took care of Lena. Didn't leave room for much else. Sounds lonely, she said, soft. Used to it, he said, but his eyes said different. She reached out, her hand on his. Don't have to be. He looked at her, the porch light catching his face, sharp, guarded, but cracking. He turned his hand, lacing their fingers, and her breath hitched. Zora. The doorbell cut him off, loud and jarring. He cursed, pulling away. Stay here. She followed anyway, peering from the hall as he opened the door. Derrick stood there, suit pristine, a sick smile on his face. Evening, Carter. Where's my fiancé? Zora's blood ran cold. Malik blocked the doorway, voice like steel. She ain't yours. Get off my property. Derrick laughed, stepping closer. You think you can take what's mine? Zora, get out here. Let's go home. No, she said, stepping into view, her voice steady despite the shake in her legs. I'm not going anywhere with you. His smile vanished, eyes narrowing. You're making a mistake. Only mistake was saying yes to you, she shot back. Malik moved between them. Last chance, Langston. Leave. Derrick smirked, tossing a small box at Zora's feet, a ring box, old and scratched. You'll regret this, he said, turning away. Both of you. He was gone, tires squealing, leaving the night heavy. Zora picked up the box, hands trembling. A cheap ring inside, a note. You're mine. Malik locked the door, his face thunderous. He's unhinged. Yeah, she whispered, the note crumpling in her fist. And he's not done. The air in Malik Carter's kitchen hung thick with the leftover scent of chicken and dumplings, but the warmth from dinner had evaporated the second Derrick Langston's tires squealed out of the driveway. Zora Jackson stood by the counter, the crumpled note. You're mine, still clenched in her fist, her brown eyes wide with a mix of fury and fear. That cheap ring box sat on the island like a grenade, its presence a taunt she couldn't shake. Derrick had found her, not just tracked her, found her, and now he'd marked his territory right on Malik's doorstep. Malik locked the front door with a heavy click, his broad shoulders tense under his shirt. He turned to her, his face a storm cloud. You good? No, she said, her voice sharp, cutting through the quiet. He's here, Malik. In your damn house. How the hell did he know? We'll figure it out, he said, his tone low and controlled, but his eyes flickered with something darker. He's pushing now, means he's desperate. Desperate? She snapped, tossing the note onto the counter. He's crazy. Showing up like that, throwing this shit at me? That's not desperate. That's a threat. Malik stepped closer, his hands flexing like he wanted to hit something. I know, and he's gonna regret it. She looked up at him, his jaw tight, his gaze fierce. What do you mean? I've got people, he said, pulling out his phone. Security's doubling up tonight. Tomorrow I'm digging into how he tracked you. He's not getting near you again. Zora nodded, but her chest still felt like it was caving in. She sank onto a stool, rubbing her temples. I'm sorry, Malik. This is my bullshit, and now it's all over your life. Stop, he said, sharp enough to make her flinch. This ain't on you. He's the one crossing lines. We handled it together. Together. That word again, heavy with something she couldn't name. She met his eyes, And for a second, the chaos faded. Just her and him, the kitchen lights casting soft shadows across his face. Then his phone buzzed, shattering it. He glanced at the screen, frowning. Security. I'll be right back. He stepped outside, leaving her alone with the ring box glaring at her. She grabbed it, flipping it open. The ring was cheap. Fake gold, a chipped stone. Nothing like the flashy rock Derrick had slid on her finger last year. This was personal, a twisted little dig. She slammed it shut, her hands shaking, and chucked it into the trash. Screw him. Malik came back, raindrops clinging to his hair. They're posted up, 2 guys all night. No one's getting through. Thanks, she said, her voice small. I don't get it. How's he doing this? He's got money, connections, Malik said, leaning on the counter. But we've got the tracker out. He's guessing now. Guessing my ass, she muttered. He knew right where to pull up. Malik's eyes narrowed. You tell anyone you were here? Anyone at all? No, she said, firm. Not Tasha, not my mama, nobody. He nodded, thinking. Then it's something else. We'll find it. She exhaled, the weight pressing harder. I need to hit him back, Malik. Not just hide. I need to do something. You will, he said, his voice steady. That job interview? That's step 1. Build your life. He can't touch that. She managed a small smile. Yeah. Step 1. He reached out, his hand brushing hers, a quick, grounding touch. Get some rest, Zora. We'll figure the rest tomorrow. She nodded, heading upstairs, but sleep wasn't coming. Not with Derrick's shadow looming. The next morning, Zora woke to her phone ringing. Dr. Elise Hammond from the Gardner Foundation. She fumbled it to her ear, heart racing. Hello? Zora, it's Elise, the voice came, warm but brisk. Good news, you're in. Job's yours if you want it. For real? Zora sat up, grinning. I got it? Damn right, Elise said. Your interview sealed it. Passion, experience, all of it. Start Monday, 9 a.m. Salary's solid, and there's an apartment downtown if you need it. Zora's mind spun. An apartment? Part of the gig, Elise said. Secure building, close to work. Up to you. Thank you, Zora said, breathless. This means everything. Welcome aboard, Elise said. See you Monday. She hung up, staring at the ceiling. A job, a real shot. She bolted downstairs, finding Malik in the kitchen, coffee in hand. I got it. He looked up, a rare full smile breaking through. Told you. Congrats. Starts Monday, she said, beaming. And they've got an apartment. Downtown, secure. His smile faltered, just a flicker. You taking it? She paused, the question heavier than she'd expected. I don't know. Makes sense, right? Get my own spot, stand on my own. Yeah, he said, nodding slow. If that's what you want. She studied him, the way his eyes dipped, the tightness in his jaw. You don't want me to go? He set the mug down, meeting her gaze. I don't. But it's your call, Zora. Always has been. Her chest tightened, a mix of gratitude and something deeper. I'll think about it. Good, he said, turning away. Proud of you. She watched him go, the spark from last night flaring again. Damn it, this was getting messy. That afternoon, Zora called Tasha, pacing the living room. Girl, I got a job. For real? Tasha squealed. Where? Gardner Foundation, preschool stuff, Zora said. And maybe an apartment. Hold up, Tasha said. You're moving out from wherever you're hiding? Maybe, Zora said, glancing out at the garden. Still figuring it. Who's this friend you're with? Tasha pressed. Spill it, Zora. She hesitated, then sighed. Malik Carter, tech guy. Helped me out when I ran. Malik Carter? Tasha's voice shot up. The rich dude who don't talk to nobody? Girl, how'd you pull that? Long story, Zora said, laughing. He's cool, though. Real. Uh-huh, Tasha said, sly. Sounds like more than cool. You into him? Zora's face heated. It's not like that. He's just there. Sure, Jan, Tasha teased. Watch yourself. Derrick's still out here acting wild. I know, Zora said, sobering. He showed up last night. What? Tasha's tone sharpened. At Malik's? Yeah, Zora said. Dropped some creepy ring, talking shit. Malik ran him off. Damn, Tasha said. He's unhinged, Zora. Be careful. I will, Zora said. Love you. Love you too. She hung up, restless. Derrick wasn't stopping, and hiding wasn't enough anymore. She needed to fight back. Smart. That night, Malik cooked spaghetti, simple but good, the kitchen filling with garlic and tomato. They ate on the porch, the air thick with humidity, the tension from Derrick's visit still simmering. Zora watched him twirl pasta, his hands steady, his guard down. You ever think about getting out? She asked, sipping wine. Leaving all this? Sometimes, he said, shrugging. But this is home. Built it from nothing. Must be nice, she said. Having something that's yours? You'll get there, he said, meeting her eyes. Job's a start. Yeah, she said, smiling. Thanks to you. He waved it off, but his hand brushed hers again, lingering this time. Her pulse jumped, the air shifting. She leaned closer, her knee pressing his under the table. Malik? The doorbell cut her off, loud and insistent. He cursed, standing. Stay here. She followed anyway, peering from the hall. Malik opened the door, and there was Derrick, suit crisp, eyes cold, a smirk plastered on. Miss me, Carter. Get out, Malik said, voice like steel. Not till I get what's mine, Derrick said, stepping forward. Zora, let's go. No, she said, stepping into view, her hands clenched. I'm done with you. Derrick's smirk faded. You think you can just walk away? After everything I gave you? You gave me a cage, she shot back, stepping closer. I'm free now. He laughed, harsh. Free? With him? You're a fool, Zora. Malik moved between them, towering. Last warning, Langston. Derrick's eyes flicked to Malik, then back to Zora. This ain't over, he said, tossing another box at her feet, same scratched-up ring box. You'll crawl back. He turned, stalking off, leaving the night heavy. Zora kicked the box aside, her chest heaving. Malik locked the door, turning to her. He's losing it. Yeah, she said, trembling. And he's gonna keep coming. Malik's hand found hers, squeezing. Not if we stop him. She looked up, his touch grounding her. How? Tomorrow, he said. We hit back. The next day, Zora met Tasha at a coffee shop on Auburn Avenue. Old brick walls, jazz humming, the smell of cornbread muffins in the air. Tasha hugged her tight, then slid into a booth. You look good, girl. Job vibes? Yeah, Zora said, grinning. And maybe a plan. Spill, Tasha said, leaning in. Derrick's stalking me, Zora said low. Showed up twice now. Malik's got security, but I need more. Tasha's eyes narrowed. What you thinking? Proof, Zora said. He's sloppy. Keeps leaving shit. I record him. We've got something. Smart, Tasha said, but risky. He's got pull. Cops, his daddy's people. I know, Zora said, but I'm done running. Tasha nodded, proud. You've changed, Zora. Stronger. Had to, Zora said, sipping coffee. Malik's helping, pushing me. Malik, huh? Tasha smirked. You're glowing when you say his name. Shut up, Zora laughed, blushing. It's something. Be careful, Tasha said, serious. Derrick's spreading lies, saying you cheated with Malik for months. That's bullshit, Zora snapped. I met him the day I ran. I know, Tasha said, but he's loud, and people listen. Zora's jaw tightened. Then I'll be louder. That night, Zora and Malik sat in his living room, whiskey in hand, plotting. He's coming back, Malik said. We set a trap. Catch him slipping. How? She asked, leaning closer. Next time he shows, you record it, he said. I'll have security ready. He incriminates himself. We've got leverage. She nodded, the plan clicking. And if he doesn't? He will, Malik said, certain. He's too pissed to play smart. She looked at him, his steady gaze, the way he leaned in, close enough to feel his heat. Why you so sure? 'Cause I've seen it, he said, soft. Lena's ex. He cracked the same way. She reached out, her hand on his knee. You're something else, Malik. He covered her hand with his thumb brushing her skin. So are you. The air thickened, her pulse racing. She leaned in, her lips brushing his, soft, tentative, then hungry. He pulled her closer, his hands on her waist, the kiss deepening until she was breathless, tasting whiskey and him. They broke apart, panting, his forehead against hers. Been wanting that, he murmured, his voice rough. Me too, she whispered, smiling. But this, it's fast. We'll go slow, he said, pulling back. Whatever you need. She nodded, her heart full. Deal. The next morning, Zora woke to a text from Tasha. Check the news. She grabbed her phone, pulling up the Atlanta Journal-Constitution site. Headline: Langston heir claims fiancé stolen by tech mogul. The article was trash. Anonymous sources saying she'd cheated with Malik for months, painting her as a gold digger, him as a predator. Her stomach dropped. Malik stormed in, his face thunderous. You see this? Yeah, she said, shaky. He's hitting hard. He's scared, Malik said, pacing. This is weak smear shit. We've got the gala tonight. Gardner Foundation. We go, show him the truth. The gala. Zora's eyes widened. With this out there? Especially with it, he said, stopping. We don't hide. We fight. She swallowed, fear and fire mixing. Okay, let's do it. He nodded, fierce. We'll bury him. The Atlanta skyline glittered through the car windows as Malik Carter pulled up to the Four Seasons Hotel, the Gardner Foundation gala in full swing inside. Zora Jackson sat beside him, her emerald green dress hugging her curves, her curly hair spilling free, a stark contrast to the pinned-up bride she'd been 3 weeks ago. Her hands twisted in her lap, nerves buzzing like a live wire. The morning's headline still burned in her mind. Langston heir claims fiancé stolen by tech mogul. Derrick's latest swing, painting her as a cheater, Malik as a thief. Tonight wasn't just a gala. It was a battlefield, and she was walking in armed with nothing but the truth. Malik cut the engine, his dark eyes scanning the red carpet ahead. Photographers lined up like vultures, flashes popping as guests stepped out. They're here for us, he said, grim. Derrick tipped them off. Zora's stomach knotted. We could dip, Find another way in. No, he said, firm. We don't run. Head high, Zora. She nodded, swallowing hard. He got out first, circling to open her door, his hand steady as she stepped into the chaos. The cameras surged, shouts hitting like gunfire. Zora! Why'd you ditch Derrick? Malik, how long you been with her? Is it true about the affair? She froze, the noise deafening, but Malik's hand pressed her lower back, guiding her forward. He didn't flinch, his face calm, and she borrowed his steel, keeping her chin up as they walked inside. The ballroom was a sea of Atlanta's elite, suits and sequins, champagne flutes clinking, whispers rippling as they entered. Zora felt every eye, the weight of judgment pressing down. Dr. Elise Hammond cut through the crowd first, her warm smile a lifeline. Zora, Malik, glad y'all made it, she said, kissing Zora's cheek. Congrats again, girl. You're gonna kill it with us. Thanks, Elise, Zora said, grateful for the public nod. A few of Malik's colleagues followed, handshakes, small talk, enough to ease her into the room. But the stares didn't stop, and across the floor she spotted Derrick Langston, his blonde hair gleaming under the chandeliers, his posse circling like sharks. Beside him stood her mama, Zora Jackson, her peach dress stiff with disapproval. Their eyes locked, and Zora's chest tightened. Mom's with him, she muttered to Malik. You want to talk to her? He asked, low. Yeah, she said, steeling herself. Gotta try. They circled the room, nodding to guests, keeping it cool. By the time they reached Marlene, Derrick had slipped away. Coward. Marlene turned, her face a mask of hurt. Zora, she said, voice tight. Didn't think you'd show your face here. Had to, Mama, Zora said, calm. This is my life now. Your life? Marlene's eyes flicked to Malik. Running off with him? After what you did to Derrick? He did it to himself, Zora said, firm. You don't know the half, Mama. I know you threw away a good man, Marlene snapped. For what, this? Some fling? Malik stepped up, voice even. Mrs. Jackson, I get you're upset, but it's not what you think. Derrick's been tracking her, threatening her. That's why she ran. Marlene blinked, startled. That's ridiculous. Derrick loves her. No, he controls her, Zora said, stepping closer. There's a difference. You've known this man 3 weeks, Marlene said, waving at Malik. And you're trusting him over family? I'm trusting me, Zora shot back. Something I should have done sooner. Marlene's lips thinned. You made your bed, girl. Hope it's worth it. She walked off, leaving Zora stinging but standing. Malik's arm brushed hers. She'll come around. Maybe, Zora said, blinking back tears. But it hurts. He nodded, guiding her to their table. You're stronger than you know. Halfway through dinner, Derrick made his move. He strode up, his smile sharp, his voice carrying. Zora, Malik, nice to see y'all cozy, he said, loud enough for nearby tables to hush. How long you been planning this little switch? 3 months, like the papers say? Zora's fork clattered, her heart pounding. She stood, her phone hidden in her hand, recording. There was no affair, Derrick. I met Malik the day I left you, 'cause I saw who you really are. He smirked, stepping closer. And who's that? A liar, she said, clear and loud. You stuck a tracker in my dress, threatened my friends, spread bullshit when I wouldn't stay. The room went silent, gasps rippling out. Derrick's face flushed, his hands balling. You ungrateful! Malik stood, cutting him off. Enough, Langston. Walk away. Derrick laughed, cold. She's lying, trying to save face, but I've got proof too. He pulled out his phone, playing a voicemail. Her voice, shaky. I'm sorry, Derrick, I just need time. Hear that? She's playing you all. Zora's blood boiled. That's from last week, after you stalked me. I've got more. She hit play on her recording, his voice snarling. I'll find you, Zora. No one makes a fool out of me. The crowd murmured, eyes shifting. Derrick's smirk faltered. That's edited. Bullshit, Zora snapped. You're done, Derrick. He lunged, fury breaking through, but Malik caught his arm, twisting it back. Touch her, and you're out cold, he growled. Security swarmed, pulling Derrick away as he spat curses, the room erupting in whispers. Zora sank into her chair, trembling but triumphant. Malik sat beside her, his hand on her knee. You were fire, he murmured. Scared as hell, she admitted, smiling weak. But it worked. The rest of the night blurred, supportive nods from strangers, a quiet, proud of you from Elise. In the car, Zora leaned against Malik, exhausted. We did it. More than that, he said. You flipped the script. She smiled, the weight lifting. Yeah, I did. Back at Malik's, they collapsed on the sofa, whiskey in hand. Zora kicked off her heels, the dress pooling around her. I'm staying, she said, soft. He looked at her, surprised. Here? Yeah, she said, meeting his eyes. Job's mine, but this... us. I'm not ready to leave. He set his glass down, moving closer. Good, 'cause I don't want you to. She leaned in, kissing him, slow, deep, her hands sliding up his chest. He pulled her onto his lap, his grip firm, their breaths mingling as the kiss turned hungry. She broke away, forehead against his. I love you, Malik. Love you too, he said, voice rough. Since that damn gazebo. She laughed, tears pricking. We're a mess. The best kind, he said, kissing her again, softer this time. Days later, the fallout hit. The recording went viral. Atlanta buzzed with Derrick's disgrace, his family scrambling as business deals tanked. Zora started at the foundation, throwing herself into work, her office a bright corner downtown. One evening, Malik showed up with a key and a small box. What's this? She asked, taking the key. Your own place, he said. Bought a building for the foundation, preschool downstairs, apartment up top. Yours if you want it. She stared, stunned. You bought a building? For the kids, he said, smiling. But the apartment's for you. Freedom. She opened the box, a simple diamond ring. And this? Whenever you're ready, he said, vulnerable. No rush. She slid the ring on, grinning. I'm ready, but I'm keeping the key. He pulled her close, laughing. 2 homes, one with me, one yours. Perfect, she said, kissing him under the porch light, her heart full. 6 months later, Zora stood at her preschool's ribbon cutting, kids laughing behind her, Malik at her side. Derrick was gone, some retreat abroad, his family's influence fading. Marlene volunteered at the school now, their bond healing slow. Zora looked at Malik, his hand in hers, and knew she'd found more than refuge. She'd found herself. Hey, y'all! Zora took Derrick down and built her dream. Thanks for writing this out. Hit subscribe and drop a comment. What's your favorite moment? Love y'all.